Greetings fellow Decepticons, SoundBlaster1987 here with my December 2022 vlog. Today I'll be counting down the top 10 diseases that affect Transformers toys. And for a quick disclaimer, when I say diseases, I mean design flaws, manufacturing errors, etc. that harm the toy over long periods of time, which I'll go into in more detail with each individual part of the list. So, without further ado, number 10 on my list is Visible Head Syndrome. For those who don't know, Visible Head Syndrome, or VHS, is best known for its jokes made by fellow reviewer MGO316, with regard to figures like most of the movie Megatron figures, Energon Ironhide, and even some Bumblebees are capable of this, as well as the original Armada Hotshot mold. Visible Head Syndrome, for those who don't know, is a fan-coined term where a robot's head is blatantly visible through the vehicle or alternate mode, not counting animal heads on beast formers that are supposed to be there, like the G1 Insecticons and the Predacons and the Beast Wars figures. So, basically, the angry face staring at the front of Megatron's Revenge of the Fallen tank mode, that's VHS. Whereas Beast Wars Megatron's T-Rex head being used in robot mode, that's a weapon. Number 9 on my list is, if I can just quickly refer to my script for a moment, Kibble. Yes, Kibble, anti-Kibble and combiner parts forming. This is a group of multiple different symptoms that I've lumped together to save space on the list for other diseases in the franchise. For those who don't know, Kibble is the term coined by fans for parts of one mode of a Transformer that clutter up the other and don't seem to have much purpose. So things like wings and weapons and that kind of thing, and most wheels are okay where they are because they add to the look of the figure and make it look like it can transform. However, excess junk cluttering up the arms and that kind of thing is not always okay because it makes the toy look messy and inconsistent. Plus also Kibble works both ways with things like Revenge of the Fallen Long Arm's arms being, not long arm, long haul, his arms being stuck in the truck bed of his dump truck mode most of the time. Anti-Kibble on the other hand is fake parts such as the chest on animated Sentinel Prime being a fake windshield for his, the fake front bumper for his snowplow mode, the fake wheels on Last Night Hound's feet, and that kind of thing. Although this is normally prone to being the fake windshield or car roof chest seen on Wheeljack, Bumblebee, Cliff Jumper and other such robots that have similar transformation schemes. Finally, combiner parts forming is the fists, helmets, chest plates and Devastator's connection points from G1 combiners that have nowhere to go in the team's individual modes. Number 8 on the list, POTUS Manus Syndrome. Another callback to a fellow reviewer, TJOmega this time. POTUS Manus is a disease that affects animal transformers where their robot hand is located near the backside of the animal mode, such as the Cybertron/Beast Wars 10th Megatron mold, Cybertron Backstop, Beast Wars Neo Sling, and the Transmetal 2 Cybershark mold, which was also best known as being used for Skybite in RID 2001. So, next on the list, if I could just refer to my script for another moment. Yes, another TJOmega victim. Too many gimmicks in one toy. Most of the Armada figures suffer from this, especially Hotshot and Sideswipe, and also the leader class Optimus Prime to an extent. Too many gimmicks in one toy can hamper the transformation engineering and the articulation, also making it a bit hair-triggered for spring-loaded weaponry gimmicks, such as the infamous Hotshot Axel Zuka, that swings forward and fires at the same time when it springs up. This is why Hasbro don't use spring-loaded gimmicks at all on their Transformers anymore. They haven't even used a spring-loaded launcher since the Combiner Wars started. So, where were we? Number 6. Yes, number 6 on the list. Transformation parts forming. Now, weapons that become a part of the vehicle mode, like crane hooks turning into blasters and that kind of thing, I'm okay with. But transformation parts forming that sabotages both modes if you lose a piece, like G1 Omega Supreme or, for example, Robots in Disguise 2001 Hightower, that is another issue. because these kinds of transformation parts forming cause both modes to be ruined if you lose one of the pieces, because Hightower's head is stored in the crane platform, and most of Omega Supreme's parts are needed in both modes because they're reassembled, such as the claw for one arm and the laser on the other, becoming the two halves of a rocket in Omega Supreme's base mode. So if you lose one piece, both modes are ruined. And for number 5 on the list, shell forming. For those who don't know, shell forming is the term where Transformers are basically enclosed in a shell made of their own kibble, or backpack parts. Cybertron Thunderblast for G1 Scourge mold and all of its G1 update remakes and such like. Break for Penguin from Beast Wars Neo, etc. all suffer from this kind of condition, where a load of clumsy panels and massive shards of the alternate mode just hang off a robot out of nowhere, and the robot can't be seen at all in the vehicle mode for most parts. This is an extremely clumsy and lazy way of getting an organic animal mode and a cybernetic robot mode in the same transforming figure. Luckily most Beast Wars Neo toys don't suffer quite as much as Big Convoy and Break, but some of them are still guilty of it. Number 4 on the list is Automorph. Now, Automorphs that actually aid the transformation, like the spring-loaded head reveal of Transformers Prime Deluxes, that's fine. But geared Automorphs, like the Mecha Life feature on Revenge of the Fallen figures, and the electronic head reveals of Cybertron Primus and Leader Class Movie 1 Optimus Prime and Megatron, damages the figure over time when the springs and the mechanisms and the gears run out and when the teeth of the gears grind down on each other over time from overuse. These figures will eventually be stuck in one mode and never transform again. You'll need to unscrew a few panels or replace a few parts to repair them, and that could take a long time and expire the warranty on the figures. Next, number 3 on the list is electronic gimmicks. Lights and sounds, voice boxes, that kind of thing. Some of these have been placed well enough to be able to counteract other issues and such like, such with Energon Ironhide and to a lesser extent the Revenge of the Fallen Leader Class Optimus, Megatron and Jetfire figures, because their voice boxes are relatively small and simplistic. However, Energon Jetfire on the other hand, his voice box is in the middle of his torso, making his head too small because of the way the transformation engineering had to counteract that. Which means that his power link mode is a bit of a pinhead, not to mention his robot mode has got too small a head as well. Fingers crossed they remake Energon Jetfire in the Legacy line to make up for this at some point. Then, number 2 on the list, clear plastic. Another TJOmega victim here. Clear plastic is well known for its fracturing under stress and can't handle stress well and such like. Not to mention, some shades of clear plastic can discolor over time if the sunlight gets to it long enough. That's another thing I forgot to add to the list. Photo degradation and yellowing of plastic, especially the white and grey plastics on some figures. Especially figures like Starscream and the Transformers Star Wars Death Star crossover figure and such like are susceptible to that one. That's an honourable mention on the list. But, back to clear plastic. Clear plastic does not handle stress well. Unfortunately, Hasbro refused to seem to acknowledge this and keep using it for windshields and translucent plastic back of the head light piping blocks and such like to make the eyes light up on Transformers figures when you shine a bright light behind them, that kind of thing. Transformation hinge pins and such like embedded in clear plastic, like on Beast Wars Quick Strike, is also an issue. As the scorpion claws become his robot mode feet. Those are not going to stay stable for long if they keep, being used too much. The scorpion claws that become Quick Strike's feet will eventually wear out and fall off. And also, obviously, other things like the double hinge where his backpack falls over to reveal the robot head, that's another issue. And the head itself is on a ball joint, where the head itself is made of clear plastic on a opaque ball joint, that's not going to end well. Also, the Fronting 30 Waspinator mold has got a tendency to lose its head because of the clear plastic light piping block on the back of it. But, finally, the most infamous Transformer killing disease of all time, gold plastic syndrome. For those who don't know, gold plastic syndrome is a disease where metallic swirling plastics on Japanese G1 figures like Overlord and the Transmetal Beast Wars figures and some of the laser rods from Generation 2 self-destruct over time because the polymers and the plasticizers were not mixed correctly. So for example, there's a lot of figures like Black Zarek where the feet and the headmaster unit and such like sort of crumble to dust over time. The G2 Combiner Wars Slingshot, not Combiner Wars, the original G2 Slingshot self-destructs, like his wings break off and that kind of thing. And a lot of Beast Wars figures like Transmetal Megatron fall in half because of the gold plastic falling apart. And of course, infamously, the Beast Wars Neo Randy repainted Razor Beast has a tendency to be crumbled to dust in people's hands because of how fragile it is. Not to mention it's a spring-loaded basic figure, so... Yes, a lot of the Beast Wars basics were spring-loaded flip-formers, which did not bode well for the metallic ones, I can tell you. And the, Beast Wars Mutant Soundwave figure is almost entirely gold plastic, so that one didn't hold up well over time either. So, that more or less concludes my vlog about the top 10 Transformers toy-killing diseases of all time. I've been SoundBlaster1987. Join me next time for my next vlog in January 2022, when I'll be talking about the top 10 Kamen Rider figures, both primary and secondary riders, that deserve a figurized standard 6-inch model kit but haven't had one yet. And at the time of this recording, Kamen Rider Black and Kamen Rider Blade have been discounted because they've already got figurized standard kits. So, till then, my next review will be Kamen Rider Ujo from his Sodo Chronicle Candy Toy line. Till then, till all are one.